Like the mouth of the soil in the earth, breaking through the rocks, growing wild and tall till the buds begin to pop. So pack me in a bowl or roll me in a spliff. While you're breaking me down, you can feel your fingers stick.
Welcome to The Smoking Spot, a really good podcast about weed. I'm Ryan Herron in Portland, Oregon.
And I'm Amanda Breeze in Toronto. And welcome to another episode. It's been a hot minute. So today is going to be a quick news recap. And then I'm really excited to talk about my big event last weekend.
Okay, we just had a really, there's a lot going on in the news right now. So let's just touch on it and then we can move on.
Hell yeah.
Just like we talked about, let's say we predicted, just as we said would currently trend, Germany legalized cannabis, which is pretty awesome, right? In all of the EU, it's been a really tough little bit of legislation to get across. So good on Germany for like really pushing the issue for the last few years to finally make something work. The rules are kind of curious, but it's a good place to start. Let me see how many I know off the top of my head. And someone who's actually German or paying more attention can reach out and correct us. You can have up to 25 grams of weed, which is nearly an ounce here if you're if you're not used to metric. Although, come on, everybody here in weed knows the difference between the two, right?
Wait, 25 grams? Not 28?
I know. But hey, when you think about it, it's like, why would they have the 28 gram limit? Do cannabis users in Europe buy weed by the ounce? That would be fun. That would be curious. Can you get an eighth? I don't remember ever buying. No, I think you can, right? I remember in Amsterdam an eighth being like an acceptable amount of weed to buy.
I feel like the measurements are universal, but I've had such a hard time finding large amounts of flour. I always seem to come across hash more easily.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking is you buy a gram of hash.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 grams of hash. Like I've never bought 25 grams of hash, so I couldn't say.
Yes. Can the German parliament really like figure out that some people are buying jars of rosin here and that's typically by the ounce? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset with that. Anyway, okay, no, it's good. It's good. 25 grams is good.
Yeah. Let's not get caught up in the details. No, they're allowed. It's mostly going to be through cannabis clubs. So a little bit like what you get in Spain, but more regulated, and they're limiting it to 500 clubs. There will be membership fees, and the most interesting bit about this that I read was that you can only belong to one group, one club. So.
Okay.
At a time, and maybe you can kind of like membership hop or whatever, but as like a German citizen, you would sign up to go to one of these clubs, and then you wouldn't be able to sign up to the other one up the street, or if like a nicer one opened, you'd have to go cancel your membership.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess there's maybe some I'm trying to think what it's called here in the United States, where people just go like pill hopping or whatever. I know there's a phrase for it, where you just go and like talk to a lot of doctors and get a bunch of prescriptions and then double up everywhere.
Okay.
I think they're kind of treating it more like a drug, where they don't want you to have like triple the access by just buying 3 memberships.
Interesting. See, my first thought, not knowing, was kind of like, here we have too many shops and too many places to go, that maybe if people were stuck with one, more businesses would be more successful.
Yeah, it is interesting. Okay, so I was wrong about there being 500 clubs, because what it is, it's a max of 500 members for each club, which is kind of interesting. That is kind of like a small community. So I do like the idea of there being like, hey, there's 500 people here. We're a popular club. And when I show up, like I recognize the people that are there. And 25 grams per day or 50 grams per month. And it's really interesting to me that they're keeping track of how many grams you're buying per month.
Per month?
And the cool thing is it's for 18 and older. So if you're between 18 and 21, I think you can only, you're limited to 30 grams. So there's like some precautions for young people.
I hate this. I hate all of this. This is terrible.
It does seem a little like, okay, well, we've decided what's best and how much you should have. And don't go over this. It's a little, I don't know. It feels kind of more controlling than it needs to be, when the free market could kind of sort a lot of that out.
That just makes no sense to me. Especially the numbers are just completely fucking random. Like,
The numbers are pretty
there's not
random.
enough studies that exist for Germany to be like, well, we know for a fact that if you do more than 50 grams a month, you're melting your brain or whatever they're trying to stop from happening. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
I just find that really interesting because it's not actually based on anything because there isn't any enough research on cannabis, long-term use, short-term use at all. So that's kind of odd. Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, maybe that's why there's their precaution built in. It's like until the science is fully in, let's limit people to X amount. It also could be a way of controlling the supply of how much is being produced. If each member can only have 50 grams per month, then they're only allowed to bring in X amount of grams of cannabis into the club. And then anything more than that could be in a violation. We'll see how regulated these things end up really being. And until I look further into it, I'm not even sure which regulatory body will be overseeing all of this.
That is really, really curious. Okay, we're just going to have to watch this unfold because that is true. That is a good way to track the information, but it's not. I guess it depends what their goal is. Here right now, the government is very, very focused on shutting down illicit dispensaries and closing out the black market. And one of the major setbacks is that you can't buy high dose edibles here over 10 milligrams. You just can't buy them. So, in just the sense of medical patients alone, people are still going black market to get their edibles at a dosage that is medically working for them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. 10 milligrams is very low, especially for a medicinal dose.
Now there's ways around it. You can get like your medical card and stuff, but just like generally across the board, nothing over 10 milligrams is available. But also recreationally, I know lots of people that will eat 1,000 milligram chocolate bar just for funsies. Like people build up a tolerance, they eat high dose edibles recreationally. It doesn't have to be like a big stink and like therapeutic, whatever. People just like their high dose edibles. So I know lots of people were not happy about that, but I felt like that was Canada's way of sort of, and maybe this is what Germany's doing, sort of putting these stops in place for safety measures. If they're operating under the assumption that all this time no one's been eating cannabis because it's fucking illegal and now it's legal and they want to make sure people are safe, they want to make sure everyone's only taking low dose so they're not going full reefer madness. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, so this is nice because now I'm wondering, okay, what is the deal with edibles? Can you go in and buy just like a piece of space cake with question mark milligrams? Because hey, it's a private club. Like we're not regulating this in a way like it is in California or Toronto, where the milligrams are very carefully measured and tested, and what's going on here. It all remains to be seen. It's very exciting. We have some friends going to the Cannabis Business Conference, the CBC, I believe that's what it's called, in Berlin in like a week or two. And the timing is perfect. They've just legalized. Everyone's going to be really excited. People are going to be on their worst behavior as far as like smoking in public and coming over from the States and feeling like, hey, we always get away with this. We heard a little bit about that in Spanibus of people kind of not really necessarily respecting the culture, but kind of being like, hey, look what I can get away with.
Oh no.
And I know we're going to see more of that at a big show like that, but also it's exciting. There will be people like celebrating in that way that you get when legalization first happens. And it's like, I can wave this joint around and I can't get more than like a slap on the wrist, which is pretty exciting if you've been hiding your whole life.
It's true. I also recall my first legal joint, and it was pretty exciting and very public.
Yes. And I believe to me thrown out from like a duffel bag that someone had. Yeah, very exciting times in Portland. All of these dispensaries are like, show up, we're going to be handing out free weed to everyone, light up. And then they found out, like, no, you can't do that. You can't just hand out free weed to people. And so everyone showed up like expectantly, and joints got passed around nonetheless. You know what I mean?
I went to Portland for my first legal weed, actually.
Oh, really? Fun. Do you remember where it came from?
Fuck no. Wow, fuck, it's been a while. I remember what it looked like. It was like a little film canister, like multicolored film canisters. And I mean, I'd already been working in California, so it's not like I was new to weed, right? I just came up from
Yeah, of
working.
course not. Yeah. You're just like, oh, hey.
Yeah, just like a quick stop because I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool that Oregon legalized, and so I popped up and I did the classic. I said, "What's your highest THC?"
Yes. Oh, really?
I
Okay.
was like,
Very
"What's
nice.
your highest?" And they were like 28%. I was like, "Bring it on, baby!" And then I just slept for like 3 days because it was very strong, and that's after working, 3 months straight trimming and smoking all day. So I was actually quite tickled by that. But that is probably the last time I've ever smoked 28% THC. Fact.
Yes. I mean, even if it was that,
Yeah.
that's great. The weed I have here, I'm just smoking some Chem Dog. I couldn't even tell you what specific pheno. But the container here says 28.63%.
I'm sure it's very accurate. Love that for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Um, okay, well, I had a couple other things. Let's see here. Okay, number one is Candid Kush, Chris, who's over in Thailand or was for a little bit. Then he moved to
Yes, there
Spain. I think
he is.
who knows? That guy's all over the world. Go follow him still. So I was really enjoying watching his trips in Thailand through the lens of Instagram, because he had a much broader experience than just going to a couple of like half-assed dispensaries. He got to go see like the fields where they were growing some crazy weed and like to really try and meet a lot of growers, both like who were doing indoor intense work like you would expect in California, and then the opposite, people who are doing really intense outdoor work where the like weed has to be really hidden up in the hills and it's really hard to get to. Uh, so it's clear that Thailand has this robust cannabis culture, and there's a reason why it was legalized and adopted so quickly, and even became a tourist destination because of it, or more of one. And now they're reversing course. They're shutting everything down, and it reads like just okay. We're taking this away from the people. It's too open. We will continue to produce it for medical purposes with a small number of license holders. And it's like, okay, I know what that means. Like, okay, some company is going to, or like, lobby heavily to get the license to grow all of this weed, and it's going to be super midsy, and we're totally going to lose both the hardworking, ego-driven dude that wants to grow the best California strains in Thailand, and the dudes who have been like preserving the seeds and passing them down, and like, still smoking Thai sticks.
Oh, I was so looking forward to that happening. And I think what I'm hearing you say here is that it's Chris's fault. Just kidding.
Yeah, I can't believe Chris did that. No, actually, it seemed like Chris was very respectful. I really liked his canatourism of the whole thing.
I've been following his photos also, and I feel like I was right there with him. Like some of the photos, you can like smell the morning dew on the plants. Like they're just right there, right in the action, and it looked so beautiful, like these fields and these places and all of the samples he was showing. Like if you guys aren't following Candid Kush, jump on there. He just launched a newsletter to try to get around the Instagram flags and all that kind of stuff, but the
Good.
photos were amazing. And so I was thinking, each time he posted, man, I gotta go, this place looks amazing when they legalize, because I've no one wants to end up in a Thai prison for breaking the law. So that's just, a lot of countries I just get nervous. I think most countries I'm nervous about consuming in, and that would be one of them. I mean, the Croatia story, I always come back to that. Decriminalized. Sarah still spent the whole day in prison. So,
Especially as travelers, like it just always play to the safer side. Like right now, so this law specifies it hasn't been voted in, it's just drafted, but everyone's kind of feeling like, okay, yeah, this thing is a shoe-in. It's going to be a 1,700 US fine for recreational use. So you get caught smoking on the beach, that's $1,700 you got to pay.
oh my God, no.
Yeah. Well, anyone who's growing or extracting, or how about this, advertising weed, it's like a close to a $3,000 fine, $2,800 fine. And then actual cultivation is more like an $8,000 fine and jail time. So it's pretty strict, and really punitive.
Those are manageable fines, minus the rec users. Because once you pull the rec users into that level of a fine, they're not going to want to use. No one's going to want to get caught smoking. But a cultivator, $8,000. I mean, that feels like a slap on the wrist.
You're like, you just move a couple of good pounds and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's the case, but also like $8,000 is enough to completely bankrupt a small farm.
Okay, I'm not for it.
No,
But I honestly thought you were gonna say like something crazy extreme, like 30 years in. Like I thought they were gonna go jail time.
It's not. I think it is a year in jail though.
Okay, so there is jail time as well.
Yeah, ranging from 1 to 3 years and fines from $600 to $8,000. So it depends what kind of level of cultivation you have and that kind of thing. Anyways, this is all just like drafted right now, and we're going to see how it progresses. But it is definitely like a hit to what seemed like a really exciting tourist destination for someone like us.
Oh man,
Should have went with Chris when we had the chance.
I know. Why didn't we jump in the suitcase?
No, I've been scratching and sniffing his Instagram ever since.
I know, that's the thing. Shit ass, man.
And then I really want to hear about this cannabis showcase, cannabis literary showcase from this last week. And then also, I know that Amanda did a good job of representing the Smoking Spot podcast, as well as showcasing some Centelligent stuff. So, I mean, as much as you want to talk about it, we should get into it.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know if you're aware, but we were actually a sponsor of the literary showcase, which is a fancy way of saying we paid for it.
I mean, here, let's be real though. Amanda put so much sweat equity into this damn thing, straight up, that it was very impressive to see it all come together in the way that it did. And yeah, hey, I'm really proud of my pal and co-host over here for putting on a successful thing.
Buddy, we did it. We really did it. I spent probably 3 months building this showcase. I genuinely thought I could pull it together in like a couple of weeks. I was like, it's some books, it's some bookshelves, it'll be fine. Wrong. Absolutely could not have been any wronger in the time estimate of what it takes to put a few shelves and books on them. I wasn't even close. It was 3 straight months. And at the end there, I was putting in 14-hour days the last couple of weeks because there's so many details. There's so many little bits and bobs, like this sign, for example. I'm holding up a sign. You got to do all this printing so people know what they're looking at. And I made this gorgeous Scholastic catalog. And of course, people kept hearing about it and then messaging me. So I had to keep redoing it. But I put together this nice little Scholastic. And look, our Smoking Spot is on the back because we sponsored it. We also so did Centelligence. So thanks so much to our sponsors, me and Ryan.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, if there's a cannabis conference somewhere, I'm sure you could squeeze us in there somewhere. Just you put us up on stage or let us hang up a poster or two. Like, we're around for all that.
No, we did great. And, the Smoking Spot inspired the booth decor. So I'll paint a little scene for you. It was a 10-foot long wall of bookshelves and stocked top to bottom. There's some pics on my Instagram. And then in front of it were 2 chairs for people to sit in so they could actually read the books that were being showcased. And I spent weeks hunting for a pink couch to rep the Smoking Spot. And I settled on 2 very, very cute pink chairs. So I'm really quite proud of that setup.
Yeah, that was serendipity that you found those couches or those chairs. They look great. They fit the aesthetic. It
fit the aesthetic perfectly. So much time on Marketplace to hunt those down, but damn, it was absolutely worth it. They turned out so cute. And these little catalogs turned out so cute. So these were little giveaways for people to take home because I wasn't selling any of the books. And I think that was actually arguably the most favorite part of the event. There's something really nice about hosting something that people can just enjoy for free. And a lot of people just went and wanted to look at the books. Like that was the point. So I felt like people were really engaging with the space. It was really cool to see which books people were drawn to. And then an unexpected turn was how many shop owners came up to me because they have been, quote, wanting to sell books in their shop, but didn't know where to start. And so it was so cool because not like this, I'm not saying one or two, at least 20 people came up and were like, I've been wanting to bring in books and I didn't know which ones. And I'm like, let me give you a tour.
Yes, yes. One of my favorite things at like the museum gift shop, which I never buy anything at, is to look at their book selection because it's always like small, curated, somebody really put it together and it's always like snap, snap, snap. All right, let me get that on the library. So I love that you kind of gave people that experience of like the super curated, like, hey, here's the bangers, right? So if you're going to stock your shop with something, don't have a bunch of stuff that's just going to sit around, like all of this stuff, and you can pick it up and flip through it and look at like what the artist did and what the writers did, and get like and know exactly what you're gonna have in your shop.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Plus, I went the extra mile with some of the details. I got these little clips, these little plastic clips you clip on the shelf, and I labeled each one a name of a section, kind of like a bookstore. So it was also cool because, like, in the catalog, I just lumped like education and wellness kind of into one category, but on the actual display, I had stuff, science category, and then a separate education category, and then like culture, health, and then health or wellness, because those are kind of two different things. So I really like separated them into some really great categories that really allowed the books to shine, because something that is educational might also be representative of the cannabis culture. There was a history section. My proudest section was the activism section, where I got way more books than I thought I would on that topic. And I was very stoked to share that with people at the event as well. So I have a
Very
few
cool.
books here that I just wanted to like kind of shout out because honestly, it's not about me. It's actually about these amazing publications and these amazing authors. They're keeping the tradition of print media alive. They're continuing this legacy of publications in the cannabis community. They're spending their time and energy writing these amazing books and magazines. And the whole point was to showcase them. So I kind of want to show you a couple.
You did not tell me that you were going to reading rainbow me today during our show, but if you're gonna, you don't have to take my word for it. I love this. Yes, please present us with some of the Amanda's top favorites from the showcase.
Well, let's just see how this goes. I don't even know where to start because I went into my boxes. I'm so appreciative to all the authors for sending me these books because people love to read. People love to read, and it's cool to see them. So I'm gonna start with, I don't know, I'm just gonna start with the one in front of me. I picked out like 15 books, but we won't go through all of them. This book is really cool. It's called It's Just a Plant, and it's by Ricardo Cortez, and it's actually a kid's book. It's a children's book about cannabis. Um, and it basically follows this young girl where she meets different characters in the cannabis industry. So she meets like a farmer, and she meets like a medical patient, her parents, a doctor. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but she does meet a police officer who's trying to arrest someone. And then she says, it's just a plant. I cried. I actually cried when I read this. And this author is also an award-winning best-selling illustrator. So not only is the content literally magical, but the images and the art is unbelievable. So if you're looking for a kid's book, this actually was kind of life-changing. And I only just read it a couple weeks ago. So I'm literally thinking about it. It's really beautiful.
From somebody who has a kid who is obsessed with reading and has been at all ages, I've seen all the kids' books, and some of them are garbage, and the art is not good, and the copy is like as short as it can be because they're like, yeah, it's for a kid. Yeah. And this is not that. Like, just from Amanda holding up and flipping through it, I'm like, okay, the art is like something you might hang on your wall. It looks very sharp. It's really nice. And it's like a whole cohesive story that is being told. So, hey, good pick, I'll say.
You know what? I picked it up and I was flipping through it and I couldn't put it down. I really just had to read all the way through. It was just magical as fuck. So that one, highly recommend. Now, if you don't have kids, but you are a kid, as in a youthful adults. This is 18
Yeah,
plus here.
yeah, yeah, right
I
here.
also got a really good series from Pothead Books. They sent me a bunch of books, and this is their Green Buds and Hash, and it's like a Dr. Seuss parody book. But they also did a novel called Harry Pothead, and it's a
Wow.
full ass novel, right? You see how thick this is? It's a full ass novel.
Wow, great. I love
Um,
that. Somebody's having fun with it.
yeah.
Yes.
So I think we can guess what these are about. They're about fucking weed. So these are for grown up kids, right? And
Yeah.
then we have to shout out Fight House. We've done one shout out. This is one of our listeners.
Damn, that thing looks cool.
Oh my God, right? It's one of
Yeah.
our listeners who heard about the showcase through a previous episode, reached out, and they made an edutainment comic book where they
Whoa,
invented full characters. I'm holding it up to the screen for Ryan. They invented full characters of different terpenes.
that's cool.
Uh,
That's rad.
and it's really freaking neat. And this was a hit. I'm so glad we have
Yeah, of
copies of
course.
this.
It's like you can see how much work went into it. It's like hundreds of hours you're holding up.
It's beautiful. Like the illustration is it's a real comic book. This is not just a little slap together zine like I like to do. This is a legit publication.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so those are like the fun ones. They're all fun. Oh, you know who I want to shout out? The authors that attended the event. We had 3 authors who came. Steve Stacy, who wrote, it's right here, a novel, okay, called Death by Cannabis.
Fun.
And the back is like, this is what Canadian cannabis packaging looks like. So it's actually a little cheap.
Yeah, it looks like an eighth of weed basically, and like a Mylar package with just the information on the outside.
And it's just it's a fun novel. I'll read the back in brief here, but it says as the 5-year anniversary of cannabis legalization in Canada approaches, the staff at the Ideal Cannabis Indoor Production Facility are called in on a Saturday morning for an unexpected rush order. Adding to the drama, an inspection team from Health Canada arrives for a surprise site audit at the same time. The standard operating procedures created by Rana, Ideal's head of quality insurance, will hopefully guide the growers through the day's challenges, but no amount of CBD or THC is going to save them from the pain and inflammation of murder.
Okay, sure, yes. What the weed industry is a pretty good setting for the next whodunit, right?
And the author, Steve, he works in legal cannabis here. We've met at other expos and events with some of the brands that he represents. So he knows it. He knows it well. But Ryan, the craziest part of this book isn't the fact that somebody wrote this, which I'm like, fucking A, dude.
Yeah.
He's created 6 augmented reality moments in the book. So while you're reading, there's these posters that you hold your phone up to and you watch an augmented reality while you're reading different sections. So things are happening. So it's like interactive. It's a novel in 2020. I'm speechless. I've never seen anything like it. And the
Yes.
production quality of the augmented reality, I don't know if I should call them videos, but it's amazing. It's this, I've never.
That's so cool. And to take a chance on that and to have it like also be like very specific weed industry stuff. Like if there's like 400 words in there about how metric tags suck, I'll be like, yeah, I get it. This guy gets it, you know, and that's what it seems like. So that's fun.
Steve very generously gave me a copy and yeah, I just realized he signed it. That's really cute. I'm really looking forward to reading it. This is the first book I'm reading this week of all the books, and I will give you guys a full report, a book report when I'm done. But follow Steve at Death by Canna and definitely get a copy of this book. This is very, very fucking cool. So Steve was there showing his augmented reality posters, which was so cool. And then we also had Anne Alchin, who wrote 2 cookbooks. One is called Butter and Flour. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, flower with a W. You get it.
Oh, yeah. Ryan, you're gonna love these
Oh,
recipes.
it's so good too. Like, okay, I have been looking into the locked glass case at Powell's Books for the last 15 years, seeing the quality of weed cookbooks, and they always look terrible. They look like somebody printed them in their basement. And this is the first one that looks like a legit cookbook. And I don't know, I am kind of obsessed with cookbooks. I get like half a dozen from the library like every week and just devour them. And this one I have not read yet, and it looks like something that I'm like, oh, of course I'm going to get into this.
It's stunning.
It's not just brownies.
No, the page I flipped to is butterscotch, cashew, pudding squares. This book is beautiful. This would make an amazing gift for someone. And the recipes, and she made some cookies for the event that matched some of the cookies in this book like to perfection, and they were delicious and they were gorgeous. So very cool.
I think that like, let's not call it a side hustle. It is a good hobby to be like, hey, oh yeah, all my friends grow. They always have these monster bags of like trim or whatever, nothing to do with it. If you can throw that in a crock pot or whatever and make some can of butter and use it to bake with, you are instantly everyone's best friend.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't matter that you showed up with like a pound cake that will send somebody to the moon because it's too strong. It's like, okay, we'll just eat a little corner of it, and then the rest is choose your own adventure.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do want to say that there's a second book that Anne wrote, and it's this one I'm holding. It's called Stoned. And do you see how beautiful this cover is? It looks like an encyclopedia. It's got that really fancy texture to
Yeah, it's
and gold
embossed, and it has
yeah.
and textures, and it has like gold leaves. Like the cover alone on that is like $3 to print.
This is so nice. And the back says, look at the back, it just has one little quote on it, and it says, "They whom truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed."
Oh, nice. So what is this? Just like a badass coffee table book?
This is so next. This is like fusion. This is fusion right here. It's cannabis-infused recipes for a sophisticated happy hour is what it says on the byline. But it also includes biographies from over the past 100 years to celebrate people who are part of the counterculture movement of cannabis. So this is like history and recipes rolled into one.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, super badass.
And the photos in this book, Ryan, they're to die for. Stunning.
Oh, this is cool.
So
yeah, it's like really artistic food photography style stuff.
Yeah, like really, really graphic and beautiful, and just the whole layout. Look how stunning that is. Like, that is beautiful. So
oh wow, yeah, they put a lot of effort into styling everything, and yeah, that is really cool. I'm surprised I haven't seen that laying around at like a Urban Outfitters or something, just because it's really rad.
Boo, this is brand fucking new. This is brand spanking new.
Oh, okay. So you take that, you put a little plant next to it, you take a bougie ashtray and put it on top of it. There you go, you're ready to entertain.
This is amazing. So Anne was there, and congratulations on this book, Anne. It is really, truly something. So we got a nice sneak peek of that, but we also got sent an advanced copy. These are pre-order only. And this is Green Scenes by Lauren Yoshiko. Now, you must know Lauren's writing from Broccoli, the Weed.
Yeah. Lauren either used to live in Portland or still lives here. She's a great writer, always like nice perspective. So yeah, and it's cool to see, for one, how different all of these things are. I thought it was going to be a lot of like, hey, how to grow plants in your closet at home, or like, the hippie's guide to smoking weed. So it's cool that these are all like really new publications and cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And this one's really like of the future. And I sincerely think you need to get a copy as well, because it's a legal guide to cannabis destinations across the US.
Wow. I love that you're introducing us all to this, because I haven't heard of this yet.
Well, it just came out. And it's, I believe, independently published. I don't want to go on the record saying that, but I'm pretty sure Lauren did this themselves. So let's see.
Hey, even if you're just like, if it's being printed on demand somewhere, it looks super sharp, nice and shiny cover. It's like exactly the sort of thing that you would come across in a Barnes & Noble and be like, oh, okay, I will pick this up today.
And also the inside is really quite stunning. I'm holding it up for Ryan to see. Here, I flipped to Oregon, so let's see if you know any of these destinations. Okay, Carefree Cannabis Dispensary.
Oh, yeah, Greg shop.
Okay, Killingsworth in Portland. Let's see. East Fork Cultivars.
Yeah, the CBD folks.
Yeah. Ooh, 2 points.
Oh, you got that one right too. Yeah, quiz me on literally just this, and I will sweep Jeopardy.
Uh,
Anything else, and I'm scratching my head.
okay, how about Green Muse?
Yeah, yeah, cool stuff. Like little artsy shop.
That's another good one. Okay, so yeah, they have a bunch of banging spots in here, and then little descriptions. So CBD boutique with house-made skincare and beauty projects, homegrown apothecary, um, a nail shop where you can have a sesh while your set dries, and that is that one in Portland? I think yep, that's very Portland. That's very very.
Oh well, time to go get my nails done.
Look what made the list. Your favorite shop somewhere.
Yes, yeah. Slick little place. I need to head back up there. It's on the opposite side of town.
Selling plants of the smokable and non-smokable variety. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice little catchphrase.
Oh, Oregrown. We went there together. Love that. You and I went to that spot. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So that's Lauren's new book. It's called Green Scenes, and I believe this is the first cannabis travel destination guide in book form. So this is very, very of the now. Very 2024.
Yeah, no, it looks super cool. And it's also the sort of thing that if you're like, where should I go for spring break next year? Grab that, sit there with your friends, smoke some joints, and plan exactly where you want to go. And it honestly looks like you could flip to a random page and you would be, oh, okay, hey, I'm going to Toronto. That's going to be rad, whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, so our next vacation, let's just flip a roo, and we landed on Detroit. That's close to me, and
Okay,
your home state, Michigan.
let's go. It's been a minute. I'm down to go back once all the snow melts. You Michiganders, I don't know how you put up with it.
Bro, I'm in freaking Canada. What are you shutting out Michigan for? My life is suffering.
You're in a tower. You can look down on the snow. The real people of Detroit are out there scraping their cars right now.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, should I do a few more? How are we feeling about book reviews here?
We're good on time, so go ahead. Like, tell us some, like, show us whatever is interesting to you. But if you have anything that was like a real surprise to you, or of the show, or something that you were like, you know what, I this is not normally something I would get into, but I do want to like give them a shout.
Okay, yeah. Let me run through a couple. So one this is canon. Like we could not have done a showcase without this book. So right now we've shown a lot of new publications, which I really wanted to showcase new authors, new books. But Russ sent the Big Book of Terps. This is Russ Hudson's book. It's the second edition. This baby, she thick. She thick.
Yes. I mean, yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, this thing is it's a textbook.
It is a literal textbook. That's literally exactly what it is. It includes 51 quizzes and an exam. This is like actually a study guide. It is the world's largest and most comprehensive resource on terpenes and synergy in cannabis. So tons of citations. It has almost 157,000 words. There's a lot of info on the back here. But it has over 43 terpenes in detail specific to cannabis. The number of people who came to the booth and their eyes just lit up at seeing this in person, I felt like I was displaying a rare Bible. Like people just, it was like the chalice. They just like were drawn into its glimmering glow. Because this is something people talk about, but not everyone can get their hands on. So
talk about the best cheat sheet you could have for getting any job in the industry, right? Especially if you want to work in a lab or something, you go ahead, you read that, you retain 5% of it. You're talking to your boss, you're in an interview, you're talking to your peers, and you're like, oh, Neuralidol, blah, 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 blah. What a great resource.
I agree completely. I'm super stoked on it. I'm really excited to be able to kind of look through it a little bit before the next showcase. I'm hoping to host a few more. There's been some buzz from some local shops and another expo. They want me to bring it out. So I hung on to one copy of each book so that I'd be able to display them again.
Yes, you should. And also, like, you're just going to be an instant authority on the subject if you just have that thing around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
never leaving home without it.
I've gone into a dispensary before, And they're like, okay, we want to come across as really intelligent, like we know our shit. And there's going to be some books, there's going to be like teeming with microbes on the shelf, and there's going to be this because it's one of those things. It's so comprehensive that if you work in weed and you know that much about terpenes, it's going to come in handy.
Yeah, this book is absolutely crazy. So I'm really stoked that people were able to see it in person. Like everyone was just, this is just one of those books that people were just thrilled to bits to witness in real life. And it's like, you could just go buy a copy. Literally, you can buy it. It's not exclusive. Anyone can buy one.
I would hesitate when I bring up the Amazon link. I can tell this is a spendy book because all textbooks are.
Yeah.
So I would go, ooh, okay, do I really want to buy this one? And seeing it in person, I mean, damn, it is the heaviest, thickest book you've held up yet. So it's like, okay, yeah, now it's a no-brainer.
Honestly, I think that was one of the most exciting parts of running the showcase, was that really, because I wasn't selling anything, people had that experience where they thought, I've been seeing this around, I've been so curious about it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to invest, because some of these books are, it's expensive. Books are expensive to invest. It's an investment, right? And especially this type of book is definitely an investment. 100%. Just go buy it. There, you will not regret this book at all. All the books I'm talking about today are all listed on my website, emeraldtempleliving.com/books. And if you click a book that you're interested in, it will send you directly to the author's website so you can buy it straight from them. So I'm not taking any.
And it's so bad at this. She's like, oh, I could have put out a bunch of affiliate codes and got a small kickback. No, don't buy this shit from Amazon. Go to the author and buy it from them directly, and then you're paying for their groceries.
No,
I
exactly
love this. Yeah.
it. That's exactly. I know it's yeah, for as someone who can't afford groceries right now, I sure do have a lot of books to look at, but I want to celebrate the authors and I want people to buy from them. So, wherever possible, we listed non-Amazon links or the author's preferred purchasing point. So some of them were local bookstores and stuff like that. So yeah, you can go to the website and just support local authors, support the authors. These guys, these books are so cool. We need to be paying them to continue doing more.
Absolutely. If we want to support cannabis culture at this high of a level, and believe me, we do, because we've seen what it looks like when fools are running with it, we need to keep supporting this kind of stuff. So we will, let's get the books. Let's add them to our repertoire, and almost anything we have here that you mentioned today would just be a great addition to your library.
Oh,
Your library. I talk about using the library a lot because I'm a total stand for the library, but having a collection of things that you can go, oh, I actually want to look that up. Like, all of the scent books that we mention on every other episode. It's so nice having them on hand, because if not, then I feel like Googling it is so unreliable these days, especially with the proliferation of AI articles that are frankly pretty garbage. To find some real info, like half the time it has to be somebody who like put the passion and energy into writing something and fact checking and going through the actual motions to put out something that's worthwhile.
Fact checking, because the amount of misinformation regurgitated in cannabis, very specifically, because of just a lack of science in general, is shocking. I hate it. And these books are like, if you really want to know terpenes, go buy this book. This book is all you need. You can spend the next 3 years Googling and you will not learn as much as someone who, I don't even know. This must have years to put this together, I'm sure. And just a quick shout out, because the author, Russ Hudson, he's about to release his second book, which is the Big Book of Flavorants.
Oh, that's exciting too. Just when you think, oh, okay, cannabis is much more sophisticated than terpenes, Russ is like, hey, I got you. Believe
Russ
me.
is
I'm fact checking.
On it. So come to the school of Russ Hudson and get yourself a copy. This is very cool. Okay.
I saw 2 seconds of this next book and I already know what it is.
Oh, are you
yeah, let's show it off. Yeah, for sure.
Look how pretty it is.
Oh,
So
looks great.
I'm holding up the book Higher. It's The Lore, Legends, and Legacy of Cannabis by Dan Michaels, and the photographs are by Eric Christensen. This book was like a moth to a flame. Every little stoner in the room, regardless of age and interest, flocked to this cover because god damn, that is some fucking
It's
porn.
really sexy. Yeah. So Eric Nugshots, as you're probably familiar, did the photography for this book. And really, I don't know if it was all custom shot for the book or if he went and cherry picked things out of his extensive library, but the art is really, really fantastic. If you appreciate the look of a cannabis plant, there's probably not a better publication out right now.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And even the back, the thing is, it's done on black. For those of you, in case we never
I'm like drooling at the nug shot on the back of this book. Yeah, that Amanda's holding up to a camera. Yeah, no, it looks amazing.
It's drool worthy. Go Google it. The book is called Higher. I believe it's Since Media, at Since Media. And this is the definition of weed porn. Like, this is disgustingly hot. It is everything you want in a nug shot, everything you want in a plant. And the back of it is, they're all on black. So it really pops because it's not a white background, it's a black background for a lot of the photography. And then, of course, there's the writing. Just, there's also this giant history. This is a compendium of strains. So this is just unreal.
Yeah. So in the same way, the Big Book of Terps or whatever that was called is would be a handy thing to have on hand to seem more professional. Higher is going to be the thing that just gets you in with the stoners. You can talk for hours, I can anyways, about these strains and the lineage and who bred them and where they came from and what they taste like. And, in some ways, that's what we're trying to do here on this show. So to be able to have it in this sexy little package and just sitting around on your coffee table or whatever, because that I wouldn't shelve that book if I had it because it's too fun to just flip through.
It's stunning, just stunning. So yeah, that book, people were just immediately drawn to it. I mean, who doesn't love a beautiful cola glittering on a black background? And the photographers were just, flipping through, drooling the whole time. It's amazing, but it's also for the strain nerds. Because a breeder who's been breeding forever, we had a nice long chat over it. He was just floored by it. He was like, oh, this is my jam. All these different strains, the lineage, the culture. So I actually put Higher in the culture category, even though it's sort of like strains and photography, it leans to it being an art book. I mean, it's just so dense with the amount of information and history. So to me, it's a book on culture. And what is more cannabis culture than drooling over delicious photos and nerding out over the freaking lineage of a strain and the
I mean,
right? Like, that's weed.
Straight up, right? And for guys like me, like those are my football stats. And that's what I'm going to devour and argue about. And when we're smoking, it's like casual conversation sometimes, and it's like really nerdy getting into it other times. So I should go and grab that one right now just to like refresh my stoner knowledge.
You're not going to regret it. This book is beautiful. Okay, we're running out of time here, and I have like a few more books I just want to shout out. And this isn't the whole collection, so please go to my website, flip through. Also, I've had a few people reach out since that have written books that just sort of slipped through the cracks. I didn't quite see them, and that's the whole point of the showcase. Like, it's so hard to market cannabis content on social media, so it's really hard to find these books. So there'll be more coming. I've discovered a romance novel this week that is my secret, like my dirty little secret. I love a good romance novel, and it's about weed. Sign me up.
Perfect.
Can't wait to read that one. Okay, so Noah Rubin also sent some books, and Noah Rubin did The Art and Culture of Joints, Blunts, and Spliffs. The book is called How We Roll. It's this cute little square, and it has just so much instructions. It has how to roll blunts, movies. It's just like really culture. There's a whole article about New Orleans, country songs about smoking weed. It's funny. There's astrology, there's history, there's instructions. It's just like it's fun. This book is fun.
Yeah. And it's like the perfect size. It's like a good gift, if you gave somebody some papers, a little bag of weed, and this book. That's a hell of a birthday.
This is
Thank you.
Adorable, just adorable. So Highly recommend. And Noah Rubin's an amazing writer. He's done a lot of great stuff, and he didn't just pop up. This man's been in the scene for a really long ass time. So this is really, it's fun, but it's full. It's full.
Yeah, it's not a half-ass thing. I was talking about Urban Outfitters earlier. Sometimes you can pick one of those books up and be like, wow, they made this in a weekend. This is not that.
Okay, that is exactly what I was trying to say. It is not like a quick little, this is thorough. It's wow worthy. It's wow worthy. So Noah Rubin did a great job on this one. But it's also fun. I like that because it's not, some of these books are a little serious and weed is supposed to be funsies. So I like that because it really does represent the culture. So those are actually part of the culture section, those two books. Another local, this one's called Buzzkill. This is by Michael DeVilliers. It's the corporatization of cannabis. It's a bit of a critique on Canadian cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and an exploration of
a worthwhile read. Here. Yeah, great. And it's kind of crazy that that thing is got a lot to it. Yeah,
serious review of Canadian cannabis legislation. He is lovely. He is a lovely person. So I really want to hype this book because it comes from the right place. Actually, I don't think it's an angry critique. I think it's a heartfelt observations of things that we could be doing differently, and really how the legalization has been a buzzkill. I actually think the name's very apt, honestly, because it's not been great. I mean, we started the episode talking about this flip-flopping and the challenges, and 5 years in, so I think this, isn't popular amongst corporate cannabis shops. You're not going to find this in a dispensary, but you should have it on your shelf. You should buy this book.
Yes. And honestly, when we're looking to make new legislation and change regulations and things like that, having a book that you can hand to somebody and maybe even some highlighted pages and maybe even a decision maker and say, hey, well, read this perspective. You get a lot more attention handing someone over a book that has some real information in it because of the reasons we said earlier than you do by firing off an email that goes, I'm mad, don't take away my 25-gram limit.
Yeah.
So it's doesn't sound like it's a super dry book. The lovely man wrote it. So, hey, that means it's probably worthwhile to read, sentence to sentence.
Yeah.
And then also it being like a way to make an impact, I think that's great. I applaud this dude for writing the book. Every state, every country that's like fucking with legalization right now could probably have their own version of Buzzkill.
Yeah, and I think they should honestly read this. I've only had the chance to sort of just skim through it because clearly I have a lot of books on my fucking table right now. But I'm really looking forward to sitting down and digesting this and reporting back to everyone. Okay, I'm going to just show one more book because we're pretty much at the end of our episode. Edible D is a chef who sent me 3 different books. One is on cooking with cannabis. One was her cooking with cannabis book in Spanish. So first of all, she's living in Puerto Rico. And she wrote it in Spanish, which is rare. Most books are in English, and I think we're doing quite the disservice to our international cannabis community by not having more of these fantastic publications. I understand why, but I really just want to highlight that she's done it in Spanish, and I think that's really important for the culture.
Yeah. Well, and with an enormous Spanish community in places like LA and California in general, are there specific edibles in Spanish? Is that like something that anyone has even leaned into as like a brand affectation? I don't know, because it seems like there's a pretty large community that would embrace that.
Yeah,
I'm guessing if you did it right.
Of course.
If you came at it in an authentic way, as it seems like this chef has. So I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool that her book is both available in English and Spanish. So I want to highlight that. It's a great cookbook. I don't have it on my desk here, but this is her Happy Chef Guide to Cooking with Psychedelics.
Oh wow. Okay.
This lit up. Yeah.
I have not been invited to a psychedelic dinner yet, as we have with all the weed stuff.
It's like a weed cookbook. So it explains how to work with the mushrooms. And then it goes into, different types of mushrooms, ways to prepare them. And then a bunch of recipes using it. There's, oh my God, a picture of her with the freaking Flavor Town guy. What's that guy's name?
Oh,
Guy
Guy
Fieri.
Fieri? You mean the father of entheogenic
So
cuisine?
there's a picture of her with Guy Fieri in it.
I don't really mean that. But yes, yeah, hey, that's totally fun, and I love that she's getting into it. And yeah, definitely something we're gonna see more of. It's really wild. Like psychedelics are taking hold. It's not gonna be like weed because we don't consume them in the same way, but I think it's these kinds of experiences are here to stay.
I think so too. So just to end on this note, Edible D will, I don't know if I should call her Chef D or Edible D, but she will be a guest on our podcast in the coming weeks because she's also putting out, aside from this collection already, she's doing a manufacturing cannabis textbook. So she's written a whole textbook on the manufacturing side of things with her partner. And so we're going to be having her on the podcast in a few weeks to talk about all of these cool books that she's been working on and amazing projects in all areas of the industry. So that is my book review for the day.
I love it. Oh man, you really gave me the whole reading rainbow experience. I totally supported this endeavor. I totally support this endeavor. Please, maybe even tour with it. I know books are a pain in the ass to travel with, but I remember the Scholastic Book Fair and having my like sweaty $10 from my backpack and getting to choose out my little book and my excitement being on 11 for the new Goosebumps. And if someone had just gifted it to me, I mean, my little heart would have exploded. So having that experience as an adult is powerful. And I like that we were able to showcase all these artists. I want to say something. You didn't make some deal with these guys. Hey, if you contribute some books to my thing, I'll showcase you on my podcast. None of that. There was not any sort of obligation to cover these books or authors or anything. Amanda just cherry picked many that were doing the thing. Amanda just picked some of her favorites, and we got to really dig into those today. And I love that I had some familiarity with enough to be like, I'm hanging in there. I have things to say about this one because like good weed stuff is hard to come by. So it's really nice that you have it all in one place. Will you remind us where on your website we can find this like list of badass books?
Yeah, so my website is emeraldtempleliving.com/books. But if you jump on the site, you'll be able to find it. My website is not that busy. And again, you just can go through the list of all the books that I had access to for this showcase, and you can buy them directly from the authors. But also, like you said, Ryan, I kept one copy of each so that I could do more events. So I would love for any, unfortunately, right now, locals only. Hate to say it, but I'm not about to be jumping on a plane with 100 pounds of books. Would love to someday. Would love to someday. Just be that guy.
I mean, all they have to do is book you, and you'll be out there. We
Maybe
can
I
get
need
you
like
there.
a trailer. I feel like I should get like a little RV or something and like hit the road with my little library. So if anyone wants to sponsor, if anyone wants to buy me an RV.
I am imagining the Kickstarter right now. How much is an Airstream? Because we need to raise this
How cute would
for
that be
Amanda,
though?
you guys.
Literally, how cute would that be?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Beautiful. You just gave away your whole idea to the masses. So now you got to get on it.
Listen, if someone else wants to buy an Airstream, just hit me up. I'm a great road dog. Like I'm a fantastic road
Oh, yeah.
tripper.
Amanda will drive 14 hours and get you to where you're going
Yeah, I know all
while
the
you're
best
sleeping. Yeah.
spots. I trust me, I'm great on road trips, so count me in. But also, like how we opened this, we did not really have sponsors. A few of the authors and a few of the magazines, Full Pour, Fat Nugs Mag, they contributed to help cover the cost of the booth. Some of the authors also helped contribute to the cost of the booth and the cost of the furniture. So thank you again to the publishers as well who helped. But always open to not being the sponsors, Ryan and I, of this event. So I really am open to more books. Send them my way. Send some to Ryan. He needs more books too. And if you have a shop and you want us to come to you, I would love to. I would love to. So count me in.
Great. It's a beautiful pitch. I think it worked out wonderfully, and I really hope that you get to continue it in some capacity.
I hope so too. I really genuinely do. Fuck, I almost forgot. There's one more magazine I have to shout out. Don't kill me. It's called The Clip. I can't believe I almost forgot. It was the first one I picked up. The Clip, Ryan. Okay. It's
Yes.
a brand new cannabis culture and music magazine straight out of Ottawa from Shan. She was our third author. So I did my first two. I don't want to forget Shan.
No, this looks sharp. Yeah, this is cool.
It's so nice, but I thought maybe we could end with there's a ton of music stuff in here, a ton of little articles, info about cannabis, shows, albums. Like it's all about.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect little like A4 size thing that you would pick up in a record shop.
And it's at Clip the Zine is their Instagram. But Ryan, what's your star sign? Because they have a horoscope. I was gonna read your horoscope.
I'm a Pisces. So wrap us up. Tell us what the water sign should expect.
Okay, let's see. Pisces. All right. Oh, this is good already. Some may call you delusional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some.
That's it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, some may call you delusional, but if everyone else felt emotion the way that you do, they'd daydream more too. Allow Blue Dream. You just did an article on Blue Dream.
I'm leaning into the camera.
Allow Blue Dream to guide your next float between fantasy and reality while Jean Aiko's trip warmly envelopes you. And I believe that's an album that you're meant to listen to.
Okay. All right. Well, Oregon Roots. I smoked that entire jar of Blue Dream. It was very nice. Let's reconnect. I need to do some soul searching through my star sign. Apparently, AKA, I just want a jar of weed.
That's a good one. That's a really great horoscope.
I mean, they kind of got me there, which is always the power of the Zodiac, where you're like, damn, you didn't have to like pick me out of the lineup like that. That's not fair.
I like the beginning of it. Anyway, yeah. So little did you know, they were also psychic. So anyway, go get your copy of the Clip, y'all, at Clip the Zine, and support this cool new magazine publication. And that's it for me. So thanks for tuning in for another week of the Smoking Spot. It's good to be back now that the showcase is over.
Yeah, we took a couple of weeks off, but we have a pretty aggressive lineup coming up. We're talking about food, we're talking about manufacturing, edibles, psychedelics. Yeah, we're getting into it. And that's just what we have lined up for the next couple of weeks.
Let's keep the conversation going.
Follow us on Instagram at the.smokingspot. And if you've stuck around this long, rate us 5 stars.
And don't forget to subscribe to get the first updates on future episodes.
Said no matter what kind of pain and anguish life may bring you, smoke it up, hold it down, and don't ever stop. Well, you can always find a smoking spot. Yeah, you can always find a smoking spot.
Hey, Smoking Spot fans! We're here to tell you about the newest launch from Centelligence Projects.
Over the last year, we've created the Cannabis Aroma Wheel. It's a sensory tool designed to help connoisseurs take their knowledge to the next level. So whether you're a bud tender, dispensary owner, cultivator, or you just love the smell of weed, you can better appreciate the cannabis in front of you.
Get your copy of the most detailed sensory tool built specifically for the cannabis industry and order your Cannabis Aroma Wheel today at centelligenceproject.com.